So he decides to target a couple of law firms, including Paul Weiss, who hired that one guy who wanted to prosecute Trump when he worked for Alvin Bragg. It was like a mission of his. And Trump was like, you know what? It's a Democrat law firm. They tried to target me, or they at least rewarded somebody who tried to target me. And there's going to be all sorts of punishments to this law firm. Like, I don't think the federal government wants to be in business with them, which is his prerogative. And it took about 2 minutes for them to completely cave on everything Trump wanted. They went in there with a bouquet of roses and then some. You know, he only wanted roses, but they brought chocolates and diamonds and were on the knee begging him to let up. So Trump he's having success in these tactics, Ben, but I wonder what you make of the overall strategy and the successes and the not losses so far, but the thwarting that we're seeing judicially.
It seems that thwarting judicial actions won't have much impact until the issue reaches the Supreme Court. Right now, we're hearing complaints from Democrats about a constitutional crisis, but only becomes a crisis when the Supreme Court issues a ruling and the executive branch ignores it, like when they tried to unilaterally forgive student loan debt a couple years ago despite legal challenges. But the real issue, in my opinion, is a question of what restrictions the Supreme Court will impose on district court judges, specifically regarding their ability to issue nationwide temporary restraining orders. For example, a judge in Texas can issue an order that affects the entire country, which I think is problematic. The fact that the Supreme Court didn't step in and stop this a few weeks ago was, in my view, a mistake. Chief Justice Roberts' decision to publicly criticize President Trump for criticizing district court judges only made things more complicated. From the right, I've long questioned whether Roberts was the right pick for Chief Justice, and my prediction about his performance has largely held up. I think his approach to restoring the court's legitimacy by attacking Trump is misguided. What the court needs to do is draw clear lines around what district judges can and can't do. Right now, it's far too vague. District courts are issuing orders that cover everything from military policies to halting flights midair, and we don't have clear guidance on whether they have the authority to do so. The real problem here isn't that Trump is trying to redefine the judiciary. It's that district court judges are essentially redefining their own jurisdiction without much oversight, and the Supreme Court hasn't intervened. When it comes to issues like whether the administration is mishandling immigration or forcing Democrats to defend controversial decisions, it's been a win for Trump in the public narrative. For instance, Democrats are often put in the difficult position of defending policies that some voters view as far from popular. That's especially true when it comes to things like the administration's stance on illegal immigration or policies related to certain migrant groups, which can put them in a position where they must justify policies that many might see as harmful. On the topic of the private sector, the Trump administration has used legal leverage effectively. For example, when Columbia University was found to be violating the Civil Rights Act by not upholding anti-discrimination policies for Jewish students, the administration stood firm. Universities can't just turn a blind eye to discrimination because of the political climate. They have to follow federal laws. And if they don't, they risk losing federal funding. Columbia ultimately backed down, which is a win for Trump, as this issue resonates with many Americans who believe that universities should uphold these anti-discrimination principles across the board. When it comes to corporate donations or pro bono work, such as the $40 million worth of pro bono legal services pledged by Paul Weiss to White House Governmental Affairs, the reaction has been somewhat exaggerated. While it's a significant amount, the actual cost of pro bono hours for top law firms is inflated. They charge $3,000 to $4,000 an hour, so that amount doesn't equate to as many hours as people may think. What I think sets Trump apart from past Republicans is that he's using the very rules the left has established to his advantage. When President Obama was in office, he used his executive power to leverage deals with corporations, like when he called in the heads of car companies in 2009 and said he was the only thing standing between them and the pitchforks. Obama was leveraging his position to extract concessions, but that kind of behavior is more common on the left. Trump, however, is using those same executive powers and strategies against the very people who set up the system. And that's why it's causing such an uproar. It's forcing the left to confront the reality of the system they helped create, and they don't like it when the same tactics they use are now being used against them. If they want to stop this, perhaps the solution is a deal to reduce the power of the executive branch, either by constitutional amendments or new legislation. But Of course, that's easier said than done.
And think of all the DOJ investigations they sicked on various police departments and fire departments across this nation saying, you don't have enough black people. You don't have enough brown people. We're going to investigate you. You handled this one case in a way that we didn't like, and therefore you're going to have to run every decision by the Department of Justice for the next 10 years or longer. There wasn't a peep out of these leftists now complaining about that. That was fine. But if it's the DOJ or some other federal government looking at Maine saying, you know what? We may see a Title IX violation here, or we may pull your funding from the Department of Agriculture because you're so out of line when it comes to the funding that we're giving you, and you're using it to let boys play in girls' sports. Now it's a constitutional crisis. Now we have an autocrat running the government.
What makes Trump historic is that, for as long as I can remember, conservatives have accepted that the growth of government is a one-way ratchet. The executive branch's powers just keep expanding, and it's always to the benefit of the left. Even when a conservative like George W. Bush takes office, the direction remains leftward, albeit more slowly. Trump, however, is different. He's coming in and saying, you gave me all these powers, and you meant for them to be used by people like Joe Biden or Barack Obama. But now I'm here, and I'm going to use them to the fullest extent possible. Now, Trump has never actually said he would ignore the judiciary, though many people seem to believe he has. In reality, he's never openly made that claim. What's really happening is that people are upset with how he's wielding the power that was already given to him. The correct response to this shouldn't be to demonize Trump as a tyrant, but rather to question why the system was built in the first place to give such sweeping power to the executive branch. The real issue isn't Trump's use of power. It's the power itself. If the same...
That's exactly right. It's amazing to see them, flout an executive order on Title IX. They were only too happy to see Joe Biden's executive orders around Title IX and his rule changes when it came to Title IX. They loved that. Do it right now. And without anybody speaking up for girls' sports. But now that Trump has said, you know what, I disagree with that. That was poorly handled. And by the way, Biden's executive order and his changes to Title IX had already been ruled invalid. So Title IX, as it was originally written, stands. And so when Trump came in there, he just clarified it by saying, look, to be clear, Title IX does not allow boys to play in girls' sports. But the governor of Maine decided she will overrule Title IX. She's going to disregard what it says by statute and what Trump says it says. And so he's cracking down on her. And so, yeah, she's going to lose her money at her public universities, which is what's happening. And she will bend on K through 12. And she will apologize. She will. Because just like Columbia, she wants her money more than she wants to maintain the integrity of her word. She had her girl boss moment with Trump in the White House. She got all of her newspaper covers and magazine covers. And now it's going to go down the toilet. Tariff wars, stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we have now, don't sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. You can take control and safeguard your savings. This is why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold Group. They have helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. Is it time for you to hedge against economic instability with gold? To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, just text MK to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Again, text MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold has helped many protect their savings with gold. It took us decades to get into the tangled mess they're trying to unpack now in D.C. How long is it going to take to get out of it? And at what cost? Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.